Do you know how many you missed this season?
That's a good question. I think I missed about 6 or 7. I think.
6 or 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7 during the season.
Does that bother you? Is that number good? How would you evaluate that number?
Uh, I feel like I shouldn't miss any, like I said last time, but not too bad. But I just feel like I shouldn't miss any.
Is that a better way to measure the success of a linebacker than the sheer volume of tackles? Is looking at how many plays that they could have made that they didn't?
Yeah, for me that's how I look at my play. Every play that I think I could have made that I didn't make, I feel like that's a bad play on my end, and I feel like I got to make up for it or whatnot. But yeah, that's how I look at it in my standpoint.
When you look at the season as a whole, and not just with tackles, but the way you progressed this year from year 1 to year 2, how far do you think you've come? How much further do you still have to go?
You know, throughout the year and throughout last year, it was all about building trust from my teammates. You know, as the Mike linebacker, you can't be out there as one of the guys, just one of the guys. You have to be out there as the leader, the quarterback of the defense. And I think throughout the year, they had more trust in me, and everything that I said on the field, they really took it and they really went with it. When I was a freshman, I really couldn't say much because I was just putting my feet in the water at first. So they wanted to see what I could do and improve myself.
Is there a part of you that approaches this, bowl practice? You guys have one more game together, but if Darren leaves along with Joshua and you are the holdover, I mean, you're going to be you're in the middle of it next year anyway. But is there something to this month where you're trying to lay some groundwork for next year?
You know, bowl practice is definitely a time to develop young guys also. I mean, it's leading into the spring ball. But our focus for the last couple of days has really been about Notre Dame and the stuff that they'll try to do to us. But it's definitely a time to try to develop young guys. They've been getting a lot of practice time lately. I mean, we got a couple linebackers that's dinged up, but we can see the development throughout the whole team.
I think you're the only defensive player that we're talking to today that's actually going to play for Schiano. What do you know about him?
You know, from what I've heard, he's just like Coach Ash, to where he's real demanding on what he says and real fiery type guy who gets into his players and really passionate about the stuff that he does on the field and off the field. So that's what I got from him, just a passionate guy. And when I got to talk to him for the little time that I did, he seemed to be a real cool guy.
When you first heard the news that he was coming on staff, what was your reaction?
You know, I had to Google him. I mean, I knew who he was, but I Googled him and see like his track record, Tampa Bay, Rutgers, and stuff like that. But I heard he was pretty cool with Coach Meyer, and Coach Meyer says he's a good coach, so I guess he is.
To have a former NFL head coach as an assistant coach on the staff?
Yeah, I mean, it just gives a different perspective. You know, stuff about your game personally, you can ask him about some of the guys that he's seen in the NFL, and just try to better your game personally. But as a team-wise, he's seen some of the best teams, played against some of the best teams in the NFL, so he knows what he's talking about.
You mentioned that you started the last few days kind of hone in, focus in on Notre Dame. From what you've seen of them, what you're working on, what do you got to be ready for in a couple of weeks? They're putting up some big numbers offensively, or did this season. What jumps out at you, I guess, about that?
You know, they have a real physical offensive line. You know, they have 2 NFL caliber tackles and one that's going top 3, I think, or something like that. But you know, that's the main thing that we have to worry about, because if they can dominate the line of scrimmage, then obviously they can move the ball on us. But really, I've just been paying attention to their offensive line. You know, the skilled players are going to do what they do. They got a nice receiver, and they got a young quarterback. But the offensive line, to me.
How do you look at a bowl trip, Raekwon, going to Arizona for a few days before the game? For you, is it all business? Do you like to have fun? How do you strike that balance when you're out there and you have a game to play, but, it is supposed to be kind of fun for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, you go out there, you're supposed to have fun. Last year on our national championship run, we had a lot of fun. But when it was time to lock in, I think all the guys really did a good job of locking in and focusing on the game.
Tyvis said Urban is making an effort to make practices fun, to lighten the mood a little bit. Have you noticed that? And if so, how's he done it?
Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of every practice, we have a little challenge for the young guys, or we started off with going circle drill with the young guys, just to lighten things up because, you know, throughout the whole season we had a lot of pressure and we were all tensed up, and we were what 10-0, and everybody was acting like we were 5-5 or something like that. So, I mean, it's just been a very lightened bowl practice spree, but I think we still worked even harder than we did during the season.
Have any of you guys been giving Coach Ash a hard time once the clock's hit 0? He's a Big Ten East rival now.
No, we haven't really been giving him a hard time, but he knows time is coming. Like right after the game, we're gonna give it to him.
Right after the game?
Yeah.
Like on the field?
Yeah, maybe on the field and on the plane and all that type stuff.
One of the things that we, or from people as boys, is this team going to be motivated for this game? Because your aspirations were higher. A lot of the guys are saying that's not a problem at all with Notre Dame out there. Just what is your sense? Is this team ready to go and will be ready to go in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, the expectation isn't always. I mean, it's always a national championship, but from the jump, from the foundation, our expectation is always to win. So you never go into a game looking to lose. So that's I feel like that's not a problem going to this game, because every game that we play and that we step on the field and that we drop our pads on, we feel like we should win.
I know Coach Fickle was just saying that, if a defense doesn't play together and if guys aren't unselfish and stuff, then it doesn't matter how much talent you have, it's not going to work. And he felt this defense did a good job playing together this year. But can you just sort of speak to what the talent level is of this defense when you guys take the field? I mean, we know how many guys who are on this defense are going to wind up playing in the NFL someday. Can you maybe put it in perspective a little bit of like what it's really like when the 11 guys you put out there each game?
I always put it in perspective as, like, I'm the middle linebacker, and I'm in the middle of some of the best athletes in the nation. I got 2 safeties that are going to play in the NFL. 2 cornerbacks is definitely going to be some of the top draft picks. My whole D-line is going to go. And the guys right beside me are NFL caliber linebackers. So I feel like we just bring the best out of each other while we're on the field, and the competitiveness that we have just brings the sheer talent out of all of us.
And you have, like, you can sort of feel that in the moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, you sort of look around and can realize, man, like,
Yeah.
Darren.
Some of those talented plays that they made, some of the tremendous plays that they make, man, you just get it's like a wow factor sometimes. But once you get down to it and see these guys do it in practice almost every day, it becomes common.
That thing about the running quarterbacks being a weakness, is that something you can fix before the bowl game? Plan on having it fixed?
Yeah, we gonna have it fixed. I mean, I feel like it was fixed. I mean, if you think about our scheme, if you know anything about the quarters match concept that we run, you know that the quarterback run game is sort of a weakness.
Couple more, please. Anyone else?
Have you been to Arizona?
Yeah, I've been there, Arizona before. Phoenix area.
How? Why?
My family went out there one time. I don't know why we went out there.
Hey, Raekwon, I asked some of the guys beginning of the year about their jersey number. How does a linebacker end up with number 5? What's this backstory there?
How does a linebacker end up with number 5? I came here early in January of 2014, and I said I wanted number 2, but I got in here and they had number 5 on, so I guess that's what it is. I didn't never ask for it. I just went with it because I didn't want to be the 5-star guy complaining about his number, so I just went with it. Yeah.
Just like the single digit, or what was the allure with 2 or 5?
No, I was gonna wear 42 or 2.
Okay, I got it.
Because I wore 42 in high school, but I got here and they gave me 5, so I just went with it.
You wore 2 briefly, right?
Yeah, I wore 2 because Jeff Hartman played. We were both on punt team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's right.
yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Did
thanks,
they give
Rick.
you 5 because you're a 5-star?
No.